Ruslan.
What that does from a macro standpoint, meaning this, I think the more Kanyes there are, by no means is this an endorsement of anything Kanye has said and whatever, the more opportunity it is for other Christian creators in the space. I've used the illustration of avocado. When I first started eating Mexican food, I did not like guacamole or avocado. I thought it was gross, right? But avocado is one of the most nutritious foods you can have. And I said, yo, I don't like avocado. You're not gonna feed me avocado. And sure enough, one day my buddy had a California burrito. I ate it and I said, this is amazing. He gave me like the second half. I said, yo, this is amazing. What is it? He's like, it's called California burrito. I was like, California burrito, what the heck is in this? And he was like, it's carne asada, French fries, cheese, salsa fresca, and guacamole. And I was like, guacamole? I hate guacamole. I hate guacamole. You like it now because you like this burrito. And I had hostility towards avocado, but because it was packaged into something that was so amazing, my taste buds started changing over time for avocado. Now I eat avocados all the time, like all the time. Like I had avocado last night, right? I love avocados. I say all that to say, oftentimes we're looking for this like radical transformation, instant, you know, this person completely changes everything. And that happens a lot. The flip side of it is sometimes there is a gradual process. There's a gradual process for people. So what you're seeing on a macro scale, the Kanyes, the Biebers, all these guys, far from perfect, right? By the way, having a California burrito with guacamole is not the same and is not as healthy as having a full-on avocado. Avocado is way more nutritious than the guacamole avocado, right? You see what I'm saying? The California burrito guacamole. So I want to get people to having avocados because they're great for you. They sustain you. It's like a superfood. But what's happening is, I think, is my opinion, I feel like God's stirring something in culture, stirring something in society where we have a bunch of people on the most influential people who are the California burrito version of avocado, and it's flawed and it's messy and it's greasy and it's problematic and it's not just straight avocado. There's some things attached to Bieber and him talking about get the best weed from California, right? There's some issues, Chance the Rapper, some issues there, which I don't downplay those issues. I talk about those issues, but what it is it's changing the taste buds and people's relationship with food. And eventually, I think it's going to slowly get them over to where I'm at now, which is I just love avocados. This is how God worked in my life. It was listening to Tupac talk about God, then it was listening to DMX do the prayer at the end of his albums, and slowly, my appetite changed. And then someone came along and shared the gospel with me. And then someone came along and invited me to church and then shared the gospel again. And then I came to church and then I heard the gospel. Then I surrendered my life. Then I put my hand up like 15 times on Sunday morning. And then slowly I got to a place of, man, do I love avocado. Do I love avocado? I eat avocados all the time and I love Jesus all the time. But initially it was the California burrito version of avocado. It's a California burrito version of avocado. And California burritos are fire. They taste good. And so with that, there's things that are happening that I'm not even saying is good for you. I'm saying it's God's providentially setting it up to slowly change people's hearts, minds, desires, and appetite towards these things. And I feel what's going to happen is in 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now is we're going to look back and we're going to say, holy smokes, there was a bunch of people that surrendered their life to Jesus. And it wasn't a Billy Graham crusade the way it was in the 90s. It wasn't Promise Keepers. It wasn't some come down and say this. It was them going to a Kanye Sunday service. It was them going to a Justin Freedom concert. It was them hearing about God from Chance the Rapper and Kirk Franklin's interview. And they're slowly going to come over, and those are going to be the initial seeds that are going to be planted, and then God's going to providentially put people in their life, and they're going to get radically saved and surrender their life for Jesus. That's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen. I believe that those are seeds being planted publicly while those people work out their stuff. Because I think Justin Bieber at 35, 36 is going to be completely different than Justin Bieber at 25, 36. I think Chance at 35, 35, 36 is going to be different than Chance at 25, 36, right? Right? So you see what I'm saying? And so, and again, the more stuff we're finding about Kanye. Kanye's out here mandating Bible studies while working on Donda with an entirely predominantly non-Christian staff. I think there's a handful of Christians there. Some of them were friends of mine. So I think you're going to see these people mature and grow in sanctification. And then those seeds that they plant are going to have the entire, like the culture is going to be looking back and saying, man, the first time I surrendered my life to Jesus, it was when I was at this Sunday service thing. And man, I've never heard the gospel, but that's what it was, fam. I was at Sunday service and there was 90% of the room wasn't Christian, but they were singing the worship songs. Right? There's something to that. Like you not being a Christian, but you acknowledging how brilliant Kanye is, that you're willing to worship a God that you don't even understand. Sounds a lot like Paul in Acts 17 says, to the unknown God, to this unknown God. But I'm going to explain him to you, right? That's what I see is happening. I hope I'm right. If you guys want to hear the new music, Patreon is where it's at. Go listen to it right now. It's sad though how God uses people outside the church because they refuse to understand people. The church is going to experience massive revival, I think. I think there's going to be massive revival. And I think it's going to come from art. I think it's going to come from commerce. I think it's going to come from the free market. I think it's going to come from the philosophers, from the scientists. I think we're going to see that. And I see that. Like when I look around and I see people in the science space, like Dr. Francis Collins, unapologetically sharing his testimony about being a follower of Jesus, right? This is one of the most brightest minds. I see God stirring something in all pockets. I see God doing something in media with the Biebers, the Chances, and the Kanyes. I see God doing something in science with the Francis Collins and all these doctors and virologists and scientists. I see God doing something in entrepreneurship with guys like Patrick Bet-David coming out, being more outspoken about their faith, talking about God more on their podcast. All these people I have different disagreements with, by the way, but I see God doing this interesting unifying work that I think is going to be, we're going to look back, and I think it could be the things that unify us potentially. Right, that unifies, that really give us an understanding that, like, fam, despite the issues we have here in America, we are the light of the world as Christians in America, and we have the opportunity to whatever we want to do. Like, do we want to end poverty? We could do that. Do we want to end starvation? We could do that if we understand that. And so if God can save Kanye, I think God can save Joe Rogan. I think, and imagine someone like Joe Rogan gets saved, right? Kanye, it's more cryptic, it's art, so on and so forth. But imagine Joe Rogan gets saved. Like, imagine some of these really big voices get saved and you start seeing that. Jordan Peterson, right? Jordan Peterson seems like he's saved or he's right there. Imagine what could happen, and if we're unified under this idea of the God-man Jesus, loving your neighbor as yourself, doing unto others. When we talk about the values and the teachings of Jesus, we sit down, we go over, like I go over these with Joe Rogan. I guarantee you, Joe Rogan is gonna sit here and agree with most of these things that we say, the teachings of Jesus. Love your neighbor, do unto others, love your enemies, pray for your enemies, right? Get away from sin, the things that are gonna kill you, get away from those things. I just don't think they understand that there's the Jesus behind those that has so shifted our society in a way that we take for granted how much we're influenced by this God and how much everything else in the world borrows from God, the ethics, motivation, even like a Gary Vee. I don't think we forget like how much these guys actually borrow from God, don't even know that they're borrowing from Proverbs. They don't even know that they're borrowing from the Gospels. So I say all that to say, I think revival can break out, and I'm hopeful for that, man. And maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm not. And we'll see. Yo, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you found it valuable, considering giving it a like and subscribing. This month, I'm releasing the Love What You Do collection, and to celebrate, I'm doing a 3-day virtual event to help us go from learning to love what we do to ultimately doing what we love. By the way, it's free, so hit the link in the description to grab your seat today.